What is up, real estate family? My name is Mr. W and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, if you are a real estate agent or if you are a real estate broker and you want to achieve two things, okay? If you want to generate more leads and close more deals, and sit back, relax, because this video is going to teach you on how you can become a top producer in 2020. Now, again, results may vary, okay? That's just a quick disclaimer. And the reason why I say that is because for certain people, it may take them, 6 months. For certain people, it may take them a year. For certain people, it may take them 5, 6, or even 10 years, okay? Results obviously vary. And the reason why they do vary is because it all boils down to this one thing. And it's this one mantra that's definitely changed my life. And I know it's definitely changed a lot of people's lives by this extraordinary individual who is obviously a lifelong mentor of mine. Unfortunately, he passed away, but his books live on forever, which basically means that, his teachings and his wisdom will always be there for the next generation to come. And it is none other than the entrepreneur extraordinaire whose name is called Jim Rohn, right? And one thing that he always says is that you shouldn't wish that things were better. You should wish that you were better. Okay, so instead of waiting for the market to change, instead of waiting for, your financial situation to change, or, certain things in your life changing, right? Things that you cannot control, take control of your life, because the only way that things will change is when you decide to change. Okay, so I always say this to people, especially when it comes to my clients, that listen, you know what, if you want to become a millionaire agent, you need to understand that the agent that you are today, the habits that you currently possess, the people that you put yourself around in and your environment, that unfortunately is not going to help you get to where you need to be, right? In order for you to become a millionaire agent, you're going to have to be a completely different person, right? So that by the time you become that millionaire agent, you're going to look at who you are right now and be like, I can't believe I was actually this person. You hear what I'm saying? So that's essentially the kind of change that needs to happen within you in order for you to change. Okay, so becoming a top producer is not about taking some magic secret pill, or knowing the right networks, or knowing the right people. It's not about any of that, right? The 3 core pillars that I'm going to teach you guys are essentially what are the blueprints of what I've learned from majority of the top producers, right? Some of them are my clients, and some of them I've studied, right? And one of the biggest ones I'd even say is Gary Keller. I would even suggest that you listen to his podcast by Tim Ferriss. You can check it out on iTunes or any other podcasting platform. I'd also recommend that you read his book, okay, and listen and understand his story, all right? Gary Keller, literally his first 30 days, when he literally signed up with the brokerage company, he sold 6 homes in his very first 30 days, okay? A year later, he was basically training people, right, on how to sell homes. And understand, this person was 22, 23 years old, but already he was crushing it. Do you want to know why he crushed it and how he crushed it? I'm going to show you why and how he crushed it, because he followed these 3 pillars that I'm going to teach you guys right now. And understand that these 3 pillars aren't necessarily Gary's, but it's pillars that I have basically conducted together. I've sat down and I've looked at all the information, and I've always tried to figure out and look at what separates the 6 and the 7-figure agents to those who are not really doing well. And it boiled down to these 3 core pillars that I'm going to show you in this presentation right now. So let us get ahead. Okay. Now, before we actually go and dissect these 3 pillars, we obviously need to look at the symptoms, okay? Sort of like when you're at a doctor doesn't just see you walking into the room and like, hey, you've got an ulcer problem. Hey, you've got a migraine problem. No, right? They first ask you a couple of questions because they first need to look at your symptoms, okay? Then they take certain tests in order for them to get an accurate diagnosis, okay? And that's essentially what we're going to do right now. In order for us to look at what is the best way for you to become a top producer in 2020, we first need to look at the symptoms. What's currently happening in the real estate industry, right? What are these laws that are naturally governed by the industry? And what I mean by this is, what are the habits that, the average real estate agents are currently doing that's causing them not to make money, that's causing them not to close as many deals, right? And I basically call it the 80, 16, and 4 rule. Okay, and this is something that I've basically looked at right? Meticulously. I've looked at this, and this is what I've figured out. This is what I've actually seen, okay? So let us get straight into it. So in the current real estate industry, okay, we've got three types of real estate agents, okay? We've got basically your 80%, and then we've got your 16%, and then we've got your 4%. So let me explain a little bit further, okay? So within your 80%, right, this group over here, this is majority of the real estate agents that are coming in every single month, right? Now, these real estate agents typically last from day one to probably even say year 5 for those that really keep on pushing, and I'd also even say these are also part-time people. But essentially, these are people here who are not necessarily making any money at all, right? So 80%, okay, of all the real estate agents, right, in this group are currently taking home 20% of the total commissions, okay? And when I say total commissions, I'm talking about total commissions in America, okay? So we've got 80% of real estate agents, okay, who are making 20% of these total commissions, okay? Now, some of them turnover in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months, okay? Some of them literally hold on to dear life and last for like a year to 5 years maximum. But I would even say that this group over here don't last more than 5 years, okay? And the main reason why is because these people, one, are chasing a check, okay? So they go and work for a big box firm, they're really chasing more commission. They're not really, creating that personal connection. They're not focused on giving value into the marketplace. They just think that, hey, I can make some money from this. Why? Because they heard it from someone, or they learned that, hey, listen, real estate is a very profitable industry. It's easy to do. I always typically say that it's sort of like this group over here are more susceptible to joining a network marketing business or, insurance business. Why? Because for them, it's sort of like their, how do I put this? It's sort of like their paradigms are solely based on get rich quick schemes, or how can I thrive with instant gratification. So these are people that really thrive from instant gratification and are just chasing a check. And that's the reason why this has a very high turnover rate. And this is why you can see it literally takes up a bulk. It literally takes up 80% of the total real estate agents, because most real estate agents, again, just one, don't know what they're doing, and I guess they're chasing a check. Now, obviously, there are some real estate agents who maybe aren't necessarily chasing a check. They are passionate about it. They are looking to, learn more. But the problem with this group is that if they are stuck in a situation, or if they're stuck with a problem, what do? They run away from it instead of tackling it head on. So sort of like this group over here, if they face a demon, right? If they're face to face with their demons, they tend to run away and hide, right? So instead of actually just looking at the demon face to face, or sitting in the shadows with your demons and feeling comfortable, right? By being uncomfortable, right? They don't do that. They're afraid of fear, all right? They're not comfortable with fear. They move away from fear. And that's the reason why there's a high turnover rate, because when things get rough, they start to bounce, okay? And that's the reason why they make 20% of the total commissions. So let's move on up. Now this group, okay, now this is the 16%, right, of the total real estate agents. Now this 16% are also taking home 20% of the total commissions. Now, here's why. Now, these are the people, right? These are basically the survivors of the 80%, okay? They are literally the guys who worked hard. They are still afraid of taking risks. They are still afraid of taking chances. They don't necessarily focus on education. They don't necessarily focus on training. Their philosophy, right, this 16%, their main philosophy here is working hard, grinding it out, putting in all the hours, really grinding it out. These are people that are consistently doing 200 to 300 cold calls a day, right? Now, if you guys watched my previous video, I'm actually just going to add it up here. I spoke about there's certain agents whose income is directly in proportion to the effort that they make in terms of prospecting. So these are the agents that are just barely making it. They're literally holding on to dear life, Okay, it's just a matter of, something happening in the market, or, just inflation increasing by 2 or 3% in order for them to fall back down here. So these are people that are really struggling as well. And that's the reason why they're taking 20%. But the reason why they're here is because they didn't give up, right? They continued working hard. And the only problem with them is that they're afraid to innovate. Again, they are afraid of their demons. What they do is they see the demon, okay, and they try to confront it. But the minute, the demon has something up its sleeve, they go back into the drawing board, or they go back and hide away from the demon. And unfortunately, sort of like, here's the door, right, to the 4%. But here's the problem. Every time they go and approach the demon, okay, what happens? The demon scares them away and they come back, okay? So that's one of the biggest problem with the 16%, is that they try and face their fears, right? But every time they try and do it, or if they encounter some problems, they go back into comfort mode, okay? And that's what they're afraid of. They know that in order to get to here, they know that they just need to pass the segue here. They just need to pass their fears. But the fact is that they're afraid of their fears, and they are aware of their fears, but they're not going to take action, and therefore they will just stay where they're at. Some of them are just happy being here, okay? Some of them are just comfortable being here because it's paying for their income, right? Whereas with the 80%, this is not necessarily paying for the income. I'd even say that the 80% probably closes around 3 to 4 deals a year. The 16% is part of your average. These are people that are making around 40K a year. These are people that are making 40K a year. These ones are making less, okay? So spot the difference between the two. Now, we're going to move up, right, to the upper echelons. These are obviously the real estate agents that have reached the pinnacle. These are people who are basically taking 60% of all commissions. And this is the 4%, right? So 4% of the total real estate agents, okay, are taking 60% of total commissions. Now, these are people, right, who started here. Understand that we all start here, right? All real estate agents start here, and you work your way up. Now, every time you need to get to a different level, there's a different devil, there's a different demon, there's a different fear, right? And again, everything is different, right? What I fear is different to what you fear. But one thing I can tell you is that once you conquer that fear, you move into the next level, okay? So these are people that were here as well, all right? But some of them actually surpassed the stage and they got here, right? Because they basically became comfortable with fear. Okay, that's basically what they became comfortable with. But at the same time, what helped these guys a lot is going to be the 3 pillars, which I'm going to speak about right now. So these guys who are the top producers, these are guys who are literally clocking in 6 figure, 7, 8, even 9 and 10, right, figure commissions. Okay, these are your $1 billion brokers. These are people that are really crushing. You basically want to learn, how did they actually get to this point? Okay, because if they didn't get to this point, or let me rather say, because if you don't learn how they got to this point, how do you expect to get to the next level? Okay, so that's something important that you guys really need to start looking at, okay? So, okay, cool. How did they actually get to this point? What are the certain pillars and steps that you need to take in order for you to get to the next level? So let's say that you're here and you want to learn, how can you get to here? Well, firstly, you cannot skip any steps. You need to go from here to go to here to go to there. Now, the problem is with most marketing agencies or most digital marketing agencies is that they'll tell you, oh no, we can get you from here to here in 3 to 4 months. No, it doesn't work that way. You first start here and then you come here and then you get to here. All right. So how do we get to this point? Okay. How do we get to a point where we're starting to make 60% of the total commissions? Well, we're part of basically of the top 4%. How do we get to that point? Okay. And it's simple. You need to follow these 3 pillars to make 60% of the commissions. All right. So 1, self-education. And I'm going to explain each one right now. 1, self-education. 2, systems. And lastly, 3, sales predator. Now, these aren't in order. Okay. All 3 of them are important. And I would even say that these are the 3 things that you need to be focusing on each and every single day. Okay, in your daily schedules, in your daily lives, in your monthly planners, in your quarterly planners, these are the 3 things that you need to be prioritizing each and every single day. So let's go through each one, okay? So self-education. What is self-education? I think that's quite I think it's self-explanatory. But to break it down a little bit further, what I've learned from top producers is that they spend an excessive amount on self-education, right? They invest in self-education. They invest in trainings. I know a lot of top agents where they basically consume, I'd even say more than 10 hours of, educational content, right? Whether it's about the market or marketing or advertising or laws around real estate industry. But what they're doing here is that they consistently paying and pumping out a lot of money to educate themselves on what becoming the best version of themselves and becoming a better business person for their business. Understand that you are running a business, okay? And in my previous video where I was speaking about how to become a T-shaped individual, which I will pop up over here, I was speaking about how you want to learn, you want to know a little bit about everything, be extremely good at one thing. So a lot of top producers, I really cannot stress how important this is. They spend literally over 6 figures a year on self-education alone, okay? Because the better decisions that you make, or let me rather say the better educator you are, right, in every facet, in every field, the better decisions you make. The better decisions you make, right, the less mistakes you make, okay? And the less mistakes you make, the more income you make, okay? So one literally cheap way for you to educate yourself, and this is something that Gary Keller did. Remember when I said that he basically sold 6 homes in 30 days? How he actually did that was when he was studying real estate, okay, he basically read each and every single book on what did successful realtors do before he did, right? What did they do to become successful? He learned from them, okay? So it's sort of like he looked at what were their mistakes, what did they do right, and he just followed it. He just followed everything according to the books. And he even said in the podcast, he's like, I just read all the books on, successful realtors and how they did it. And, I applied it in my first month, and that's how I got to sell 6 homes. So the answers are there, guys. Some of you guys are really stressed out and overwhelmed with everything because you just don't know what to do, how to do things. All the answers are in the books. Okay, I cannot stress that enough. Read. If you cannot afford a coach, buy books. If you cannot afford to going to conventions or trainings that are around, $1,000 to about even $100,000, invest in books. It's literally $2, $3, $4, $5. Okay, and you can spend about 2 weeks reading a book, and I guarantee you that the value that you're going to get from the education alone is essentially going to change your life. And I would even say that self-educating yourself with books alone is going to help you bump up your sales literally by 100%, right? So if you're basically, closing four deals a month, you can definitely get to 8 within a month if you read the right books, okay? And I would even say and suggest that you should go and buy Gary Keller's book, the owner of Keller Williams. I would even say that's the first book that you need to read, because that's essentially going to be the foundation, right? So that when you start reading more books, everything starts to make sense. Hell, my channel would even start making sense for some of you guys who maybe might not understand my theories and my concepts, okay? So that's number 1, investing in self-education. Then number 2 is systems, okay? Now here's the thing, right? You can be a real estate agent and you can be closing 100 deals every single month. But let me tell you something. You are never going to scale unless you have systems, okay? So it's sort of like if I'm a independent agent, okay, and I'm closing 100 deals every single month, right? Let's say I want to scale my business. I cannot do it because why? I have to physically do it myself, okay? Now, this is where systems come in place. You want to start looking at, okay, how can I create systems where I can basically teach people how to do what I'm doing that's working, and then afterwards I remove myself from it. So how do I build a system that basically self-replicates itself, that gives me the results that I do or that I get, and then how do I move myself away from it? So it's sort of like, how can I teach another person on how to close 100 deals so that I can move away from it? Whereas now I have more time freedom, because that's the problem, right? If you don't have systems, you don't have time freedom. And this doesn't just go in terms of, making profits or closing more deals. This even goes down to, the granular things like having a schedule, things like having a routine. if you don't have a system, it's very difficult for you to, take it to the next level, to scale, because you don't even know where your problems are. You don't even know where your problems are situated. You don't know, where do you need to improve. I always say that, you can't improve on something that you have no idea of, right? So unfortunately, if you don't know that you spend around 20 minutes every morning in the bathroom, mainly just doing menial things. Maybe you brush your teeth, and then you slow, then you take a shower, then afterwards you go to the bathroom and you chill and you chill and you chill. You spend 20 minutes when you could have easily just spent around 10 minutes in the bathroom. That's an extra 10 minutes saved. That could be 10 minutes on calling 2 or 3 prospects. So you need to start really auditing your life. You need to start auditing your work. And you want to start looking at, okay, how can I systemize everything where I can teach someone how to do this so that I can remove myself away from it, so that I have more time to focus on income producing activities, right? So you want to ask yourself, what are the IPAs that I need to be focusing on? Okay, but we're going to speak about that on being a sales predator. But essentially, just creating systems is going to help you have a better life. Okay, it's sort of like McDonald's. Imagine if McDonald's didn't know how to create the right fries, or their sauce or their flavorings, or how to construct a burger. They would be out of business, because imagine having to repeat, right, doing the same burger but not knowing what are the spices, what are the formulas, how long the fries need to be in the oil, right? That would put them out of business, because not every franchise would get it right. And because they wouldn't get it right each and every single day, they'd literally need to be stressing themselves, okay, because they're like, we don't know how to create these fries again. We don't know how to create the very same burger that we did in the beginning. And that's why they have systems, okay? They've literally got manuals, they've got videos, they've got tutorials showing people this is how you do it, okay? And because they show them how they do it, if they do it, it happens. And that's essentially what you want to do, okay? You want to create systems so that you don't have to repeat anything after that, okay? So that you can remove yourself from it. And that's essentially what top producers do. They're very methodical. They think in systems. Okay, they're not focused on doing things themselves. They focus on doing it themselves first, creating a success out of it, and then getting someone to do it for them, right? Where they teach them how to do it. And that's another thing that Gary Keller did, especially when he started franchising. Okay, he basically documented everything, and he started investing a lot of money. I think he invested over about $100,000 in creating manuals for these franchises. Okay, and that manual is basically something that even says that is worth, the company itself. Because without those manuals, then Keller Williams wouldn't be what it is today, because those manuals are basically the secrets and the guideline and the blueprint, okay, to growing the business, okay? And that's essentially what I'm trying to teach you guys, is that it's all about systems. But you cannot get to this point until you self-educate, until you go and read the books and learn how to do these things. Because I've spoken to certain agents and they're like, I know I need to do systems. Then why aren't you doing systems, right? They don't see the value behind it, because they are not investing in themselves. Once they start seeing the top producers invest in themselves, and then that's when they realize that, actually, the common thing that most producers do is they invest in creating systems, okay? And then lastly, which I would even say is the most important point over here, is you want to become a sales predator. At the end of the day, you need to ask yourself what's important now. Okay, that's the win method. And I got that from a book called Essentialism. And essentially that's what it is. You need to sit down and ask yourself, okay, why am I not successful? Or okay, why is my income fickle? Why is it up in one moment and then it's down in one moment? Why am I not constantly improving or increasing my income? And you need to ask yourself, okay, what brings in income? What brings in income is basically you closing more deals. How do you close more deals? By obviously getting more leads. Okay, how do you get more leads? That's a question that you need to be asking yourself. So you need to start asking yourself, okay, so if in order for me to close more deals, if I need to get more leads, what essentially do I need to do to get more leads? Because if I can get 100 leads, and if I'm able to close one person from those 100 leads, that basically means that if I want to close 10 deals, I need to get 1,000 leads. All right. If I want to close 100 deals, I need to get 10,000 leads. So how can I get those leads in order for me to close more deals? The math is simple, guys. It's really that simple. Those are the questions that you need to be asking yourself. So you're like, okay, if I can close 10 deals by myself, I would need 1,000 leads every single month. Okay, how can I get 1,000 leads every month? Those are questions you need to ask yourself. Okay, well, I can do a ton of cold calls, I can do a ton of door knocking, or I can invest in a digital marketing agency to get the leads for me. Therefore, I don't have to waste my time, right, physically, calling these people, wasting a lot of my time where they do it for me. And now I have more time to speak to more clients. You get what I'm saying? Those are things you need to be asking yourselves. So if you're like, okay, if I at least speak to about 100 prospects each and every single day, right, people that are interested in what I have to offer, then I know I can get around 10 appointments. Okay, those are things you need to be asking yourself, because that's essentially an income producing activity, and that's you starting to become a sales predator. You're not going to grow unless you become a sales predator. You have to go in the trenches. You have to become a hunter, because essentially being a real estate agent, you're a hunter. Okay, you are hunting for your next meal. Okay, and yes, even if you do find the meal, you're going to enjoy it. But guess what, right? Your stomach doesn't wait for you to go and find another meal. Your stomach, after a few hours, will be like, hey, buddy, we're hungry again. You need to go find more food. So you need to understand that you're only as good as your last deal. And unfortunately, if you are going to bank, okay, if you're basically going to bet on your last meal, trust me, you're going to be starving forever. Okay, there are tons and tons and tons of leads and prospects out there, but you have to put yourself in the jungle. You have to put yourself out there. Okay, you have to see what works. You have to go put yourself in the trenches. You have to face your fears. Go face your demons. If you're afraid of prospecting, go and face that demon head on, because that's the only way you're going to get to this point. Okay, that's the only way you're going to get to the 4% if you face your demons. Okay, so I trust you guys got a lot of value from this. Okay, I really wanted to ensure that you guys understood what I was speaking about the 3 pillars, which is basically investing in self-education, investing in systems, as well as, understanding what it means to be a sales predator. You have to go out there, okay? You owe it to yourself, okay? You owe it to yourself. You have to become a hunter, because that's essentially what a real estate agent is. You're hunting for new deals, okay? You're only as good as your last deal, and you cannot bet on your last deal. Okay, because the minute that deal is done, guess what? You're broke. You are hungry again. So now you need to go and do it again. But now, if you're smart enough, if you get people now to start doing your sales by creating systems, guess what? You make more money. But you can only get to this point once you invest in self-education. Okay. So anyway, guys, if you did get a lot of value from this, click on the like button, as well as subscribing if you did get a lot of value from this. Follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn as well. The links are in the description below. And I think this might have been my longest video up to date. Yeah, just wanted to ensure that I provided as much value as possible. But anyways, guys, I'll see you guys in the next video. Cheers.